Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I get my skin to look very glowy, very dewy while still being matte. Because I have oily skin, I can't just go out and slap on a dewy foundation and call it a day. It's a whole process. So stay tuned to see how I achieve this. Starting with primer, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is probably my all-time favorite drugstore primer just because it actually does a very good job at blurring the pores, but it doesn't necessarily mattify the skin too much. At the same time, it doesn't affect my oily skin at all. Whereas with some primers, since I have oily skin, if they don't mattify the skin, then it's just not a good day. This one adds moisture and it's just a really good primer for all skin types in my opinion. Now while we let that set a little bit, I'm gonna move on to brows, keeping it super simple today. I'm just going to be taking some soap on a spoolie brush and set them with that. And then I'm going to take this e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil in the shade Neutral Brown to fill in any sparse areas. These are by far my favorite brow pencils that I have ever used because they are truly ultra precise. They have a very tiny pencil and they give the perfect brow-like strokes. They don't make the brows look too overdrawn. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder and I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and a tiny bit of that product and set my oiliest spots of my face with that. Now this is not something I do all the time, just if I know it's going to be hot out or I'm going to be sweating a lot, then I take this extra step to help prevent the oil coming through my makeup. So it is a great tip for summer. Moving on to foundation. For foundation today, I'm going to be wearing the Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. And this stuff, when I tell you it's a good foundation, words can't even describe how amazing this stuff is. This is in the shade 405. I'm also going to be mixing in some NYX Born to Glow Liquid Illuminator. And this will just give the skin that nice glowy sheen, that's kind of hard to get when you have oily skin, because when you have oily skin, you're very limited on the types of foundations you could use. So instead of going for a dewy foundation here, we're going for something that has a little bit more of a matte coverage, and then we're going to add in some glow. I'm going to put a few pumps of this on my hand, and then I'm going to add a pretty generous amount of this. And I'm going to use a foundation brush to mix them together. With this stuff, I just keep adding it until I get that sheen that I'm looking for in the foundation. Be aware that it will, if you add a lot of it, it will kind of change the color of the foundation. It makes it a little bit more pink, which for me is fine. They also make a liquid illuminator that is more on the golden side. So for me, I have pink undertones, so the pink one works just fine for me. But if you have more yellow undertones, then you'd probably want to go with the more gold toned one. And I'm just going to use this foundation brush to pretty much haphazardly apply it to my face, and then I'll go in with a sponge to blend everything out once I'm done. And I've tried this, I know my hair looks crazy, but I've tried this little mixing the liquid illuminator in with a few other foundations, but this one is the only one that I can actually get it to look good on the skin. All the rest of them, it really changes the texture of the foundation, I guess, and it makes it just not look the best. I didn't quite blend it out with the sponge fast enough, so I'm going to add a little bit more foundation just to help it blend. It should not take away from that shine at all. Now I'll be using the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer in the shade Light Peach to conceal my under eyes and also prime my eyelids. And we are not done with this stuff yet. I'm going to take my finger to apply a little bit of it to where I'm going to highlight, and then take my sponge to blend it out completely. And I'm going to do a couple layers on both sides. That's pretty much the key here, is just a lot of highlighter. If you add a lot of highlighter, you look like you're glowing. Add a little bit to the nose. Can't forget the forehead and the Cupid's bow. And you cannot let it set for very long before you blend it out, because otherwise you get, I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of pulls away from the foundation if you just let it sit on top of it without blending it out. Now we are done with this, and it is time to set the face. Going back in with the Maybelline Fit Me powder. I'm once again just going to take it on my brush, not going to be using the sponge to set it today because we got that extra powder coverage under the foundation. And I'm also going to use this to set my eyelids. Now, as you can see, we still have that nice glow, that nice sheen to the skin, but we are nice and matte and ready to take on the day. So now it's time to warm up the face using butter bronzer, and this is in the shade Light. I would normally prefer a bronzer that has a little bit of a sheen to it. Nothing sparkly, just a little sheen. That also helps to glow the face, but I could not find any stuff at my Walmart yesterday when I went looking for it. Normally I use some Tarte bronzer, but that is clearly not Drugstore, so we're just gonna work with this stuff today. And I'm just going to dip into this bronzer on a fluffy brush to do my eyes. Super simple look. We're more focusing on the skin with this look today. Same thing goes for contour. I'm going to be using the NYX 3 Steps to Sculpt. I would prefer something with a little bit of a sheen, but couldn't find any at my Walmart. Also, be very generous with this stuff. I have it in, I believe, yeah, this is Fair, and this is a very dark contour, so definitely have to use it sparingly. I'm also going to take a little bit of this contour shade on my eyelids, tie it into the nose contour. For blush, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. blush palette, and I'm going to be using the shimmery shade in the corner here. And yes, I went hard with the blush, but definitely feeling it with this glowy skin. Going back into the NYX palette for the highlight. Once again, I'm going to be very generous with this highlight. To finish up the eyes, just going to pop on some mascara. I'm going to be using the NYX On The Rise Volume Liftscara. Obviously, you could do a little bit more on the eyes, but like I said, we're focusing on the face for today's video, so just going to leave it like this. Actually, I take that back. Going to add a little bit of this e.l.f. liquid glitter eyeshadow in the shade Copper Pop. And I'm just going to take a little bit on my finger and then work that onto both of my lids just for a little bit of an extra kick on the eyes. Now this mascara, this is my holy grail mascara. It's literally the only mascara that actually curls my lashes and holds them. Normally it's like a few minutes, I put it on, and then like instantly they're like, boop, nope. And I apparently should get more of this stuff because I'm about out. And what I like to do is curl them and then do a coat, and then I go back in and I curl them again. And that second curl is the key to getting them to stay curled. And then I do another coat, and look at the difference that makes. Going back in for one final curl while they're still wet, and now they'll stay curled all day. Add some mascara to the lower lash line, and I always get mascara on my lid whenever I do this, so Just going to take this brush to buff out any mascara. So I did say we were done with this, but I lied. I'm going to pop just a teeny tiny bit onto the center of my lips. And then I'm going to line them using this Maybelline Color Sensational lip liner in the shade Totally Toffee. And then taking that same finger I used to apply the liquid highlighter, I'm going to blend out that lip liner. And lastly, I'm going to top it off with this NYX Sprinkle Town Duochrome Lip Gloss. And that is it. So as you can see, I'm still very glowy, very shiny, I guess. That is how I make my oily skin look glowy while still being matte. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Be sure to hit that notification bell if you'd like to be notified whenever I upload. I upload new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye! Stop, child. Do my eyes? No. No. A little bit of this elf. Can you stop?